So today we are going to see another Java program, so which is whether a particular string is a valid parenthesis. So when I say valid parenthesis, each and every brace here, it has to have a closing brace as well. So opening brace followed by a closing brace. For example, in this particular example that you are seeing on the screen, we have the different braces, but each and every one is having a closing brace. For example, if you see here, these two, what I'm highlighting, are having a closing braces. So similarly, this particular brace is having a closing brace, and similarly these particular braces have a closing brace, and the first one also have a closing brace. So this is a valid parenthesis because each and every opening brace have a closing brace. Now if I put something like another brace over here but without any closing brace, then it will become invalid, right? Because it does not have a closing brace. Similarly, when I put something like this here without a closing brace, this is not a valid parenthesis because this particular square brace over here does not have a closing brace. So that's the idea. So we should validate it using a Java program whether a particular string have all the valid braces. Now we have written our string, and this should return a boolean value saying a particular string given is valid or not. Now let us write our code here. So we are getting a string. So the idea to do it is we have to use stack data structure over here. The reason is we want to store whatever the incoming the braces into a stack. You know that stack is last in first out or first in last out data structure, right? For example, if you, let's take this particular example over here, we'll try to insert into the stack like something like this one and this, right? Now what is happening, maybe the another one as per the previous example, we'll try to insert into a stack in this particular order. Now what was last pushed into the stack is this particular brace over here, right? Now if we encounter any other closing brace, right, then we will peek the stack and see whether it has a corresponding opening brace. What was the corresponding opening brace? It is the immediate or the top of the stack, right? If it matches this particular one, then we'll try to pop it out and go to the next sequence. So I'll explain in detail once I write the code. So let me start the code and then I'll try to run through the program with an example. The first thing you have to do is you need an opening brace. So before that, I will create a character array here. Maybe all the characters, then str.toChar. And also, as I said, we need a character stack. Let me check the spelling. Yeah. Then say we say char stack. So now we are ready. So let me import this from java.util package. So we have a stack right now, and we are ready to write the rest of the program. Now, as I said, we have to push the characters that are incoming into the stack. Now for each of the character that is coming out of this character array, first I will check if the character is having an incoming brace. I'll explain you guys why I'm doing it. So we have to keep double equal to, because we are checking that it is equal to a particular character. Okay. So all the opening types, this can also be square brace, and if this is the case, that means we are getting any of the opening breaks, then we use the character stack and we push the character into the stack, right? Now what we have to do, let's say if you're not getting this particular opening braces, and if stack is empty, right? Let's say whatever the character stack that we have, is empty. Empty is a method in the stack data structure. That means we're not having anything in the stack, and we're simply getting an array, char array, which is empty, right? And the stack is empty. If the stack is empty, we just return false. But if the stack is not empty, that means already some elements are there in the stack, but it is not one of those three opening braces, then we should see what is there in the stack, guys. Okay, so the char equal to char stack dot peek. Now peek is a method which will just fetch the top of the stack, but I think char is already used. We can use stop. Okay, we will see what is the top of the stack. For example, in this particular case, we have already pushed all these 4 opening braces into the stack by this point of time, because we've already got all the opening braces. So all the opening braces might have been pushed into the stack at this point of time, because this condition will is returns true and we won't come to this particular else block. So all these 4 characters will be pushed into the stack. But in this particular case, we will get a closing brace. Now if we get a closing brace, we'll come to the else block, and if you see the stack is empty, but the stack is not empty in this particular case. At this point of time, we are getting a peek top of the element. Now we should write if top equal to a, let's say, opening brace, and C equal to the current brace should be a closing brace. So this is one condition, guys. So let me put everything over here. Then I say or, then I should be writing the similar thing, the different condition with a different brace name. So let's say a square brace this time, and we should have an or condition again, and similar thing, but this time we should use a floor brace. So if the condition is matched, we should say char stack dot pop, and this should say else condition. So that means we have nothing to pop. That means it does not match with this particular pattern over here. Then we should simply, I think we should have one more brace over here. Yeah. And we don't, this pattern is not matching, then we just simply return false case. So the other thing is, at the end of the stack, we should return stack dot is empty, guys. So let me run this particular thing. We'll see how it is working later. So we are expecting a true here. Yeah. So that means stack is a valid parenthesis. Let me add some opening brace without a closing brace, and it should return false. Okay, so let me try with something like this. This should return true. Yeah, and at this point of time we can also add something like this, right? Or maybe something like this. So even in this case, it doesn't matter, guys. We have an opening brace and a closing brace. As long as that holds true, we should be returning true, and we are returning true. So okay, I'll go to my previous example. For simplicity, I'll try to explain what is happening in this particular case. So let's say this is our string that is coming, which is having some parentheses, and we are expecting true. Now what happens is, so we are getting these characters, guys. So let's say for each character we're trying to convert it to a char array, and then we have created a stack, and for each of the character in this particular string we're trying to push it to a stack. For example, so for each time we are pushing it to the stack, right? So what happens for this particular 3 characters, right? Now this array will have something like so the braces will be coming like this, guys, and we'll be storing the same thing in the stack in the exact order, right? So the top of the stack will be this square brace over here. Now the moment we go to the next particular character, which is the closing square brace, right? So this condition will not match and it will come to the else block, right? So now in this case the C is C equal to a closing brace, right? Now we'll come here, and if you see the character stack is empty. It's not empty because we are already storing these 3 elements in the stack, because the first 3 characters, this condition got matched and we are storing everything in the stack. Now here in this particular case, stack is not empty, and in the else block what we're trying to do, we're trying to pick the first element. The reason why we are picking is we want to make a comparison if we have a opening brace, right? So that means it's not a opening brace if it is not an opening brace and the stack is not empty, we'll come over here. So then we'll check what is the top element. What is the top element? We already picked. What is the top element here? The opening brace. Now we are checking the opening brace is a square brace, and if it is matching with the C, alright? So for example, in this case, top we are expecting this to be this, and C is expecting to be this. Then in this particular case, we are having an opening brace and a closing brace, guys. Now if we have an opening brace and a closing brace, what we are doing, we are simply popping the element from the stack, right? That means we are removing from the stack. That means we do find an opening brace and we did find a closing brace that matches. Now that's it, guys. So now we will go back to the iteration once again in the for loop. Now in the next iteration, what we have is an opening brace like this, and C will be, in this particular time, we will have a brace like this. Now again we'll come here and we'll compare what is the top of the stack. Top of the stack is again an opening brace like this, and that will get matched with what is coming from the next character. So this will get matched. We will also pop this, and we'll go to the next iteration. In the next iteration we are expecting this one. So again this condition will match and stack will not be empty, so we'll come to this else block and this condition will get matched and we are popping the elements, guys. So that means as long as we are getting the matching elements from the stack and the current the element that is coming, current character that is coming, we are simply popping them out of the stack. Now at the end of the for loop, after the for loop is executed, we're checking the character stack is empty. Ideally, once we have popped out of all the elements, we should have a character stack that is empty. If it is character stack is empty, that means all the matching the elements and braces are found, and we should be returning an empty stack. If it is not empty, it will return false. This is a good example, because if all the parentheses have opening brace and closing braces, it will return true. Now what happens if we have, let's say, something like this? Now let us check this out, guys. So first we are getting this particular opening braces and we'll be storing them to the stack as per this if condition. Let's say for the first 3 iterations, we'll be storing these 3 elements, these 3 characters to the stack. Now what happens at the 4th character is we are getting a closing brace, something like this. Now as soon as you come into this particular thing, you will check if the character stack is empty. No, it is not empty, because we have already stored this particular 3 characters into the stack, and this condition will not match, so it will come to the else block and we'll see what is the top. What is the top? Here this is the top. Top in this particular case is this one. Now the top is this one, but the current character is this one. It will not match with any of the condition, guys. So we are not doing a pop operation and will simply return false, right? So now we might have understood why we are failing, right? Now it also happens that we might have something like this, right? For example, let's say something like this. Now let's see what will happen. Let's say we have 4 characters, something like this. Let's say 3 characters, something like this, and we are storing them in the stack, and we are getting this time a closing parenthesis that is valid. So first 3 characters will store it in the stack using the push operation. The next character, fourth character, we will get the closing parenthesis like this. Now stack is not empty, again it will come to this else block, and we'll see the matching as per this particular criteria. Now if you see, we have what is the top of the stack? The top of the stack is this one, right? So this particular character is top of the stack, and C is also a closing brace. That means top is an opening brace, this one, this condition will be matched, so it will pop out this element. Okay, we are successfully popping and top, and we are popping this element. And for the next iteration, what we are getting? We are getting a square brace like this, right? We are getting a square brace like this, but the top of the stack is a different brace, right? So none of the condition will match, because the top of the brace, so top of the stack is, when you do the peak operation, you'll get this particular character which is the top of the stack, but it does not match with the current character. That means we do not have a closing brace and opening brace that are matching, right? So we'll come to the else blocks and return false. So that is also clear, guys. So that is how it magically works. So basically we are trying to push through the elements whenever you have opening brace, and then try to peek and check if we have what is stored in the stack, right, have an opening brace, and what is coming as a part of the next iteration is a closing brace. As long as that matches, we'll try to pop out of the stack. So if it does not match, we will return false, guys. So if all the pop operations are successful, that means we do not have any anomaly here, and all the opening braces have closing braces, then pop operations might have performed and the stack might have been empty. So if the stack might have been empty, then it's a valid parenthesis, guys. Now I'll give one more condition over here. Let's say we do something like this, okay? So let's say directly I'm trying to insert some closing braces before giving any opening brace, guys. Now what happens? So the first condition will not match. That means we do not have opening brace at all, even in the beginning of the string, right? So in this particular case, directly it will go to the else block. In this particular case, we are not pushing anything to the stack, and directly we are getting a closing parenthesis, something like this. Now what will happen in this case? So we are getting stack is empty, guys. Stack is empty means we don't have opening parenthesis at all, and we are directly getting a closing parenthesis. So here also we are returning false, guys. So it might be overwhelming in the very first attempt, but if you understand how stacks works, right, we push into the stack and then we'll peek the stack to see if we have a matching opening brace for the incoming character that is having a closing brace. So these conditions are important, and once you really understand the concept, it's very straightforward, guys. Yeah, that's all for today. Thank you, guys.